Hi, my name is Angela. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my final PGY1 evaluation. I am a PGY1 resident currently. I'm soon going to be a PGY2 resident. I am in an ambulatory care focused training and I'm going to go into PGY2 AmCare. But I've been checking in with you guys on my quarter evaluations and I just had my final one, so I just want to give a brief overview. I'm not going to review the whole year, but I just want to talk about kind of what happened, how I'm going to bridge some of the things that we talked about in my final eval with PGY2 training, because I think it'll be helpful just to know, okay, well, do you just end and then go to the next program? I think there was some bridging that I wasn't aware of previously. So to start, with my specific final evaluation, similar to others that I had, we went over strengths and weaknesses. So I tried to look broadly at all of my experiences, projects, teaching, staffing, rotations, communication, just what are general things that I noticed strength-wise in me. A few stuck out, and so I got to talk with those with my RPD and RPC, and I just wrote those down to remember for PGY2 that I have strengths that I identified from this year. Alternatively, weaknesses. I think some projects I knew very, very well that I was weak in certain things because I'd gotten feedback on them, and my biggest one personally was just being concise and not giving out too much information, not overloading, and working with the end in mind. So that's something I'm definitely taking forward in PGY2 training, I hope. I also, had to work on different times when I would just be hard on myself, and I got that from the preceptor evaluations actually more than I did from my own assessment. So weaknesses were identified and carried forward, and then kind of goal setting just for professional and personal reasons. So similar to all the other final evals, but now it was kind of looking into the future since all my goals at this institution had been completed. And I think I tried to map out areas that I really wanted to focus on, because I think when you get into a new PGY2 program, your goals might change, but broadly, what are things that you're pretty sure that are important to you, that you identified this year, or that you're going to have to do next year, to kind of look at big key areas so you don't forget and you don't get focused too much on other things. I think that having too many goals is something I also struggle with. So just, make sure that you take time as you get to the end of your like what I'm trying to think of is that I get to my end of my training, right? PGY2. You've been on this track if you're someone like me who's been in pre-pharmacy and kind of done an accelerated view and then going into pharmacy and kind of go, and then trying to get into residency and then PGY1 and then PGY2. At some point, you have to learn how to slow down and pull back, and I think that all of this goal setting can hinder that process. So just something that I kind of pulled away from my eval is that I need to kind of pull back. Goal setting is important, but we've been doing it all this time. How do I do it for the long term? How do I do it for the marathon that is life, not the race? And then just some FYI, ASHP is what accredits residency programs. You have to complete competency goals, so I'll put a link below to what those are just because I had no idea what they were. And you have to complete 85% or more in order to graduate. So you self-assess yourself on these competency areas every time you do a different activity in pharm academic, and your preceptors do as well. So some are just like general, be a member of the team, patient care, feedback. Others are more specific, like did you present on this, did you do this, did you staff so many times? So you may look at your evaluation and think, oh no, I only have 50% completed, but others may still need to put in their input. You may have just not had certain experiences, so it's not something I focused on too much, fortunately, but I just kind of assumed that I hadn't met them yet, so it kind of motivated me to work hard to get that, and so it ended up being fine for me. I didn't have a problem. Other things were just tying up different projects. What's the research plans for me once I leave here? Is there going to be anything I need to follow up on? That was kind of a discussion. And then kind of just talking about credentialing. So I think that's something to think about for a PGY2 year, because it could be something you decide to pursue. So pharmacists can get extra board certification credentialing depending on what area they're practicing in or have practiced in. So for me specifically in ambulatory care, I'm thinking about BCACP, Board Certified Ambulatory Care Pharmacist. I had been thinking about BCPS, or Board Certified Pharmacotherapy Specialist, which is more broad. So I discussed that with my PGY1 program and my new PGY2 program. So I think that was a good discussion to have at my final evaluation, because if I was going to take something like that immediately, I would want to know how to prepare adequately and kind of not, again, set too many goals and let it overwhelm me. So something I think you should be thinking about, at least discussing and asking what their thoughts are. And lastly, just like pat yourself on the back because you did it, survived the first year of residency. I was very excited in that moment to have my final evaluation and never have to do something like that again, because it is a grueling year and it's hard to kind of see the whole year that you worked on in the final eval. At least it was hard for me, but you do feel like a sense of relief once you know that you don't have to go to another one of those and kind of keep completing these things, at least for that year. You don't have to repeat first year. Once you know that you've completed your objectives, completed your projects, you can at least go forward. So it's a good feeling. But that's just kind of things I wanted to share with you guys about my final evaluation. Nothing too specific since everyone's will be different. But please let me know if you have any specific questions. Like the video if you liked it, and share it with someone else who you think it could be helpful for. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video when I will be a PGY2 resident.